It's opening night at the NFL's newest facility, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, as the Green Bay Packers take the field, all set to face the Falcons on Sunday Night Football.
Stand up and cheer, stomp your feet, start clapping. NBC Sunday night about to happen. America's game, been waiting all day. The Pack and the Falcons have come to play. Al, Chris, Michelle, turning it up. It's the NFL, can't get enough. We got a battle tonight, a winner take all, ain't nothing like Sunday Night Football. It's out of control. Get set, let's go. The clock's winding down. Let's rock and roll. Stand up and cheer, stomp your feet, start clapping. NBC Sunday night about to happen. The hits keep coming and the lights keep flashing. Come on, get ready for the action. Sunday night, Sunday night. Sunday night, Sunday night. Sunday night, Sunday night, Sunday night.
On a warm, clear night, the roof is open at their new digs as the Atlanta Falcons take the field. Last season's MVP, Matt Ryan, and the Falcons geared up to take on the supreme Aaron Rodgers and his Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya. Well, last year the Atlanta Falcons won the NFC crown, defeated the Packers here in the championship game 44-21, and then we all know what happened 2 weeks later in the Super Bowl. But they have flipped the calendar, begin this year on a winning note, went to Chicago last week, beat the Bears, even though Chicago took them right down to the wire. The Packers, meanwhile, finished last season red hot before they came in here and were dismantled by the Atlanta Falcons, and they too got off to a good start this season. Last week at Lambeau Field, beat Seattle 17-9 and kept Russell Wilson and company out of the end zone. So, Chris, take a look at, of course, the big stars tonight on the big stage. You've got Rodgers, you've got Ryan. I know it's a new stadium. They need some new batteries in the scoreboard before this one is done.
You're right. You know, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan finished 1-2 in touchdown passes a season ago, but Tom Brady got the ring again. And at this point in their careers, that's all these two quarterbacks remotely care about. And they know a win here tonight could give them yet another shot at that ring.
Each team is 1-0. What'd you take away from last week's openers?
Well, we know how good these offenses and these quarterbacks are going to be, right? So it probably comes down to the two defenses. How are they going to play? The Falcons much deeper along that defensive line, so I think they're going to be much better. And for the Green Bay Packers, they unveiled that nitro defense that looked so good a week ago. So we'll see which defense holds up.
Right now down to the field, let's welcome in Michelle Tafoya. Michelle.
Hey, Al, well, the big question for the Packers coming into this game was the status of their offensive tackles. Left tackle David Bakhtiari has a hamstring injury. Right tackle Brian Bulaga has a right ankle injury, has not played since the second week of the preseason, and suffered flu-like symptoms all this week. Both are inactive tonight. They worked out this morning, but the medical staff determined they were unable to go. So, second-year player Kyle Murphy, who filled in for Bulaga at right tackle last week, will slide over to left tackle. And first-year man Justin McCray will start at right tackle, his first ever NFL game action on the offensive line. And that leaves the Packers with just two healthy backups, neither of whom has played a down in the NFL before. Al, we know Aaron Rodgers likes the no huddle. We'll see how all these changes on the line impact his ability to run it.
Michelle, it's the best matchup of week 2. Packers-Falcons on Sunday Night Football.
Ain't nothing like Sunday Night Football.
So the roof is open. This building has been open now for over a month. They've played 2 college football games in here, 2 Falcon preseason games, and last night they had a soccer game. Atlanta against Orlando that drew about 40,000. They've opened up the roof on this nice night. Arthur Blank is the owner of the Falcons, and this for him is a dream come true as he moves from the Georgia Dome, which will be imploded and is right next door to this facility, into Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And his coach is Dan Quinn, who is in his 3rd year at the helm in Atlanta. 20-13 is his record. NFC Championship last year. And Mike McCarthy, already in his 12th season, started in 2006 with the Packers and a .653 regular season percentage. He won the Super Bowl after the 2010 season over Pittsburgh in Dallas. So this is what you get for about $1.6 billion. Or a little bit less, perhaps. About $1.50. Filled to the gills tonight. The Packers won the toss. They have deferred. Mason Crosby, who's been around a long time, his 11th year in the league. They drafted him back in '07. And back deep to receive for the Falcons is Andre Roberts. Each team coming off a victory last week. The highlight game now of week 2 coming your way on Sunday Night Football as Mason Crosby sends it down to the goal line, and this is Roberts to run it back, and great coverage by Ron Zook's special teams unit. Josh Jones makes the tackle, and the Falcons will start deep in their own territory. So Ryan had a spectacular year. Matt now in his 10th season. He was their #1 draft choice back in 2008. Take a look at that. His last 8 games, which encompassed the last 4 of the regular season last year, all 3 playoff games, and last week, 21 touchdowns, 0 picks.
How's that?
Pretty good. And 117 pass rating last year, which is almost off the charts. So they begin from the 14-yard line, from the shotgun. And this is Devontae Freeman for a gain of 3. Up to the 18. Let's take a look at the Falcons starters.
Matt Ryan, Boston College.
Devontae Freeman, Florida State.
Derek Coleman, UCLA.
Julio Jones, Alabama.
Mohamed Sanu, Rutgers.
Austin Hooper, Stanford.
Jake Matthews, Texas A&M.
Andy Levitri, Oregon State.
Alex Mack, Cal.
Weston Schweitzer, San Jose State.
Ryan Schrader, Valdosta State.
They had the same 5 offensive linemen in every game last year. A change this year, though, as Julio Jones breaks a tackle, and Julio Jones has a first down at the 36-yard line before he is run out of bounds. He broke out of a Demarius Randall tackle, and that's a gain of 19 for the Falcons.
Anytime you leave this guy right here in a one-on-one situation, you're going to have problems. Not just problems in coverage, problems getting that monster on the ground. He is truly one of the real physical specimens in the National Football League. He was a nightmare for this Packers team in the championship.
From the 36, looking for room and finding plenty for a gain of 8 yards goes Devontae Freeman. 2nd and 2. Let's take a look at the Green Bay D.
Dean Lowry, Northwestern.
Kenny Clark, UCLA. Mike Daniels, Iowa.
Clay Matthews, USC.
Jake Ryan, Michigan.
Blake Martinez, Stanford. Nick Perry, USC.
Devon House, New Mexico State. Morgan Burnett, Georgia Tech.
HaHa Clem Dix, Alabama.
Demarius Randall, Arizona State.
That was a defense that was decimated by injuries at the end of last season. 2nd down and 2. Ryan, good protection, fires over the middle, caught on the run by Jones. And Julio, off to a red-hot start, takes the ball down to the 23-yard line, tackled by Randall. That's a gain of 33.
It's always a good idea to try and bring a little pressure off the defensive side, but when you do, that means you have to single Julio Jones. And that was the dilemma this entire offseason. What do you do with that guy? The first game they played last season, they decided to double him every single time. 3 catches, 29 yards, big win, they still lost. So they come back in the playoffs and say, all right, we're going to be a little more selective, bring some more pressure, try and play some single coverage, and that happened. What do you do?
First down to the 22 line, and they run a draw. Freeman has room. Freeman takes the ball to the 16-yard line. Tripped up by Clinton Dix. So a good opening drive. 5 plays in, 3 runs, 2 passes. Twice last year these two teams met, lit up the scoreboard. Falcons offense last year overall 34 points per game. Tops in yards per play, tops in big plays over 20 yards, and they have the fewest turnovers in the league. Pretty good. Freeman and Coleman, the 2 backs, now in the backfield, flanking Ryan on a 2nd down and 4. And they flip it out to Freeman, who is in motion, and he picks up a first down before he is run out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Tackle made by Kentrell Bryce.
One of the secret weapons, this guy right here playing in the slot. Watch him block out here on the edge. We saw it in the Super Bowl. These wide receiver blocks allow them to get outside the defense on many occasions. And Mohamed Sanu, he was good in Cincinnati playing there, but he was tremendous last year. Had a great finish to the season.
Ball right at the 10. Thus it is a 1st and goal on the game's opening drive. And they give it to Taylor Gabriel on a sweep, and he picks up about 6 before he's run out by Demarius Randall. Little guy, they got the big receivers, and then they go to Gabriel, who's 5'8" and 165.
Well, Taylor Gabriel is the guy you want to get it to in a speed situation. Ran a 4.28 at his pro day, which is just remarkable. And he was a big play guy. When quarterbacks threw to him last season, a 148 rating. That was #1 in the National Football League, Al.
Just another one of the weapons at the disposal of Ryan. Right now he's got Coleman flanking him in the backfield. 3 receivers, trip set to the right. Jones is the front man on 2nd and goal. Play clock down to 2. And they hand it on a draw to Coleman, who takes it to the 1-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and goal. Morgan Burnett, who's a safety but plays a lot of linebacker, makes the stop.
This is the Nitro defense. Instead of a linebacker in the game, they bring the safety, Morgan Burnett, down inside. And you don't worry about him being physical enough, but clearly the Atlanta Falcons, if you're going to play a safety in there with their great running game, they are going to attack him.
9th play of the drive. Look at that. 8 out of 10 times they got into the end zone. Can they do it here? On the first drive of the game on a 3rd down and goal. A little toss. Freeman looks for room. Has it. Touchdown. Ryan Schrader, the tackle. And then a little free throw action, too. Schrader pulled out. He followed him in. Touchdown, Atlanta. Beautiful opening drive.
One of the really unsung heroes, I think, of this Falcons offense, Ryan Schrader. Just game after game. He's not necessarily the prettiest, the most athletic guy, just continues to get it done game after game. PFF had him as the #2 ranked right tackle in all of football. He showed you why there.
Schrader got hurt on the play, so now the right tackle has to be assisted off.
Not enough tackles left in the building.
No,
tonight.
I'm telling you, you're right. If you're just tuning in late here, Green Bay without both starting offensive tackles. They haven't had the ball yet. As that play takes them into the end zone on the 9th play of the drive. They picked up 4 first downs on the drive. Kept it on the ground 6 times and then 3 through the air, including 2 big ones to Jones. So the ageless Matt Bryant at the age of 42, 3rd oldest player in the league. Only Adam Vinatieri and Phil Dawson, 2 other kickers, are older, and he bangs it through. So 5:09 into the game. The Atlanta Falcons draw first blood, 7-0 over the Green Bay Packers. NCUA and by AT&T. 300 level here. That's called the 100-yard club. Why? It's 100 yards. Yard markers here match the field. Each red zone features its own bar. They haven't gone metric here yet. It's 100 yards.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good. It's a great place, isn't it? Just even the bowels of the stadium are fun to see.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta hosting its first regular season NFL game. And Bosher with a touchback. Aaron Rodgers leads the Packer offense out, and they look like this.
Aaron Rodgers, Cal.
Ty Montgomery, Leland Stanford Jr. University.
Randall Cobb, Kentucky.
Jordy Nelson, Kansas State.
Devontae Adams, Fresno State.
Marty, the Imagination Agency.
Kyle Murphy, Stanford. Lane Taylor, Oklahoma State.
Corey Lindsley, The Ohio State University.
Jari Evans, Bloomsburg.
Justin McCray, University of Central Florida.
So all eyes, of course, on the 2 tackles minus Bakhtiari, who played last week. Balaga didn't. 2 of the best in the league, and they go with Murphy and with McCray. And Rodgers starts from the shotgun at the 25-yard line. Quick toss. This is Devontae Adams, had a big year, gain of 1, tackled by Brian Poole. Aaron Rodgers, been a starter since 08, was on the bench 3 years behind Brett Favre before that. Last year, another fantastic season, 40 touchdowns, led the league, only 7 interceptions. Blazing hot down the stretch. They won their last 6 regular season games last year, 2 playoff games, then came in here and went home. 2nd and 9 from the 26-yard line. Running back is Montgomery. And Ty Montgomery picks up about 5. He's tackled there by Ricardo Allen. So Montgomery drafted as a wide receiver. That's why he still gets to wear number 88. But he is their number 1 running back now, clearly. But a guy who obviously can run the ball, and since he was a wide receiver, can catch it as well. That's easy to figure out. 3rd down and 4. Rodgers looked like he wanted to come up to the line quickly, then backs off.
Pretty good job on that first play, that first run there. Justin McCray at the right tackle position. Pretty amazing first start in this one.
3rd and 4. And they hand it to Randall Cobb on the end around, and Cobb picks up the first down, as he has done for years. Martellus Bennett, who came over from New England in free agency in the offseason, with the block.
Veteran guy on the outside. Watch Martellus Bennett get out in front of this thing and then shows some patience. Instead of just throwing the first thing he saw, Devondre Campbell, just stay in front of him. That's all. Let Randall Cobb do the hard stuff. Set it up. There you go. A little dip inside. Nice run.
Now they put a fullback in the game. That is Aaron Ripkowski in front of Montgomery from the 41 on 1st down. Play action, finds the open man. That's Ripkowski, and he gets upended at the 43-yard line by Brian Poole. Here's the Atlanta D.
Vic Beasley, Clemson.
Dontari Poe, Memphis, Tennessee.
Grady Jarrett, Clemson.
Adrian Claiborne, Iowa.
Deion Jones, LSU, go Tigers.
Devondre Campbell, Minnesota.
Desmond Trufant, Washington.
Keanu Neal, Florida.
Ricardo Allen, Mainland High School.
Robert Alford, Southeastern Louisiana.
Brian Poole, DBU, Florida.
Alford's the guy who had a pick 6 in the Super Bowl off Brady and ran it back 82 yards. 2nd and 8. Here's Montgomery. Short gain up to the 44-yard line. And that'll make it 3rd down. Call it 7.
Yeah, one of the fastest linebackers playing in the National Football League right now. This guy right here, Deion Jones. We were talking with Aaron Rodgers about him. Said maybe one faster.
He tried to get it off before it was signaled ready for play. Walt Anderson is the referee. We'll hear from him for the first time.
Timeout. It's 3rd down.
So he stops it on what would have to have been an Atlanta timeout. What else could it be? He said timeout. So Rodgers went up to the line very
charge
quickly.
Timeout. The officials have to be given an opportunity to get in position to work. It's 3rd down.
All right, so it wasn't a timeout called by a team, but the officials have to get lined up correctly.
I have never heard that before. They have to be in a position to work.
He's right.
I was kind of working on a replay when they were doing it. Everybody has to stay on their toes with Aaron Rodgers around.
And of course, he's the master of the free play, getting the other team to either jump offside or have 12 guys on the field. He's made that an art form.
First real test for these tackles now on 3rd and 7.
Rogers stepping up, feeling the pressure, and throws, and that's caught. That'll be a first down, and that's Richard Rogers, who stays with the Packers. They brought Bennett in, they brought Kendricks in, and Aaron was saying, you know what, I'd like to use Richard Rogers a little bit more tonight.
Let's watch these two tackles. Colin Murphy on the outside. I thought he did a good job last week in that game, and then a little help on the other side for Justin McCray, as it should be. But so far, I've been impressed with Justin McCray. I've been watching him on every snap. He has made some good blocks in the running game, and his protection has been perfect so far.
So far, so good. Pick up a couple of first downs, 2 third-down conversions on the drive to this point. Ball at the Falcon 42-yard line. And Rogers throws, and that's dropped. At the 38-yard line, that is Martellus Bennett. Vic Beasley, you saw him introduce himself. Beasley, third year in the league, led the league last year in sacks, 15.5, which is almost one a game. 8th overall pick out of Clemson back in 15.
Yeah, and he only played about 30 snaps in that game a week ago. And Aaron Rodgers said, hey, if they want to leave him over there, I might try and jump into that no-huddle offense just so he doesn't get a chance.
2nd and 10, he lines up over the right offensive tackle. And here's Montgomery. He gets spilled at the 40-yard line. So, again, a third down upcoming for Green Bay. 2 for 2 on third down conversions to this point. This is the 9th play of the drive.
Isn't it interesting? And I know we're not supposed to listen to the snap counts, but I heard it on Fox last week, so I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Of course.
But he gets.
Meanwhile,
I'll tell you in a minute.
Back in a minute. That's Upshaw coming off. Not a happy sight for Packer fans, minus their 2 tackles already. And there's Jordy Nelson trying to get loose, and let's see what happened to him.
Really nothing at all. The play before, he had a little thing, and then that's that flexing of the right leg. We won't speculate. We have great people on the sideline, and hopefully they'll figure it out soon.
Missed the 15 season with an ACL, which he tore in training camp. Now Rogers empties the backfield, puts Montgomery in the slot on a 3rd and 8, and then fires, and it is dropped on a slant, and that's Bennett. Flag though on the play. So the first real call of the night coming up from Walt Anderson. Signal is against Atlanta. Crowd won't like it. It's a 3rd and 8.
Pass interference, number 22, defense. First down at the spot of the foul.
That's Keanu O'Neal. And it will give them a first down at the 32-yard line.
You want to make it easy, grab the back of the jersey of an offensive player. Right there. They are going to call it every single time. That is the only thing that's easy about being an official in this league. They see that, flag's coming out.
Look at those tearaway jerseys.
Yeah.
From the 32, Montgomery starts one way, goes the other. And Ty Montgomery played his college football at Stanford, takes it to the 24. Neal makes the tackle there, call it a 7-yard gain, 2nd down and 3.
Who says wide receivers aren't tough guys? How about Ty Montgomery at the end of this run, dropping that shoulder and plowing ahead for another 2 or 3 yards? It's really pretty amazing, isn't it? Now, he did have some experience in high school, a little bit in college, kick returner, the whole thing. But to see him transition so naturally to that running back position, the single most elusive back a season ago was that guy right there, Ty Montgomery.
2nd and 3. Empty backfield again. Rogers fires right side, getting free is Montgomery inside the 5 and out of bounds at the 2. So he can run it. Obviously, he can catch it. They can use him on sweeps and draws and the whole package, much like Randall Cobb when he first came to this team.
I have no idea what they're doing here. There's out on the outside, you're going to see just a rub. There's one guy to cover 2 people. A complete screw up somehow or another in the secondary. Not sure what happened, but that kind of bust hurts. There's Tyrone or Brian Poole chasing late. Who knows?
Now Montgomery split to the right again. First down and goal from the 2. Rogers looks the other way, throws. The flag is down. Again, he targets Bennett. And you've got another penalty marker with 3:47 to go in the opening quarter.
Offside, number 99, defense, lined up in the neutral zone, half the distance to the goal, still first down.
99 is Adrian Claiborne. Moves it to the 1-yard line, first down.
I would say that is offsides. You know, I understand you try and get a little edge. You try, especially you're down there, but you can't make it too easy on Aaron Rodgers.
If you're offside by half a yard, they're going to call it.
Yeah.
A couple of inches, no. Montgomery is the back behind the fullback Ripkowski. Montgomery into the end zone. So these two teams last year lighting up the scoreboard, off to the same kind of start tonight. 11 plays, 75 yards, good balance, 6 runs, 5 passes, and an extra point will tie the game.
These linebackers aren't the biggest guys in the world, and coming up is Deion Jones against Aaron Ripkowski, and Ripkowski just doesn't miss. Watch him just square this up, take his time, make sure he gets the contact. If he gets solid contact, he knows Montgomery will be in the end zone. Nicely done.
Crosby in for the extra point. Montgomery on that drive, 5 carries for 16 yards and 1 reception for 23 yards. So he has 30 of the 75 scrimmage yards. And Crosby bangs it through. 3:43 remaining in the opening quarter. 7-7 in Atlanta. That show coming back to NBC, directed by the great Jimmy Burrows. Coming up later this fall. That's the Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon this week on NBC. Each team going the length of the field in effect, and the kickoff here is down in the end zone. We go to Michelle.
Costly first quarter for both of these teams. Jordy Nelson is questionable right now with a quad injury. You can kind of see it happening there. Also, his defensive tackle teammate Mike Daniels questionable with a hamstring. Now, Ryan Schrader went back to the locker room to be evaluated for a concussion. Ty Sambrailo will replace him if he cannot play. The Falcons traded for Sambrailo right before the final cut because they wanted a legitimate third tackle. Also, Courtney Upshaw is questionable with an ankle injury, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Sambrailo was the #1 pick of Denver 3 years ago out of Colorado State. From the 25, out of the shotgun, something the Falcons use less than any team in the league, at least last year. Less shotgun than any team. Will spin around off the play fake and nobody home.
Somebody went the wrong way. It looked like either Tevin Coleman or Matt Ryan. Somebody spun the wrong way and just had to get this thing out of there. You don't see them make many mistakes like this, but where is he? All right, let me just throw this thing over here. But we were a little bit on those injuries now, and maybe the most significant, Mike Daniels being out. He was a dominant force in that game a week ago. 1.5 sacks and 3 tackles for losses.
I just asked Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, and that pass is incomplete, overthrowing Sanu. It'll be 3rd down and 10 now for the Falcons.
Yeah, and for the Green Bay Packers, that is a big loss because the strength of this defense in many ways are those 3 pass rushers. Nick Perry, who had 11 sacks a season ago on the left side, 53, Clay Matthews. But it all works because Mike Daniels gets that push right up the middle, so they're going to need somebody to take that role on now.
You saw Steve Sarkisian took over for Kyle Shanahan as the offensive coordinator. Kyle now in San Francisco as the head coach. And Ryan's going to get smothered back at the 12-yard line. So it is Joe Thomas and Clay Matthews who got in there. Thomas winds up finishing him off after Matthews puts the heat on. It's 4th and 21.
Really on both edges. Watch this one coming this way. And the problem for the Atlanta Falcons a week ago was their new right guard, Wes Schweitzer, who took over for Chris Chester. And so there's going to be a lot of action around him in the blitz package tonight for Green Bay.
Losher to punt. Trevor Davis is backing up and calls for and makes the fair catch at the Green Bay 37-yard line. 2:48 to go in the quarter as you look at Clay Matthews, 9th year, 7-7. Favre.
42.
319. So 2 shy of 300. The rookie running back is Williams. He's in the game, and the pass is thrown and caught by Cobb. He breaks the tackle for the moment, gets the ball out to the 42-yard line. Tackle there by Brian Pools. Made 4 tackles already tonight.
Everybody has something different to say about Aaron Rodgers. Watch this one, Al. Watch the spot that he makes this throw from. To be able to move to his left, immediately see the pressure coming right in his face, and then somehow get twisted around enough and put something on that throw. It is just what makes him unique. There just aren't other players that do it like that.
As the players say, he can throw from any platform. You name it. He does it. 2nd and 5 from the 41-yard line. Jamal Williams is the back. Here is his first carry. He takes it up to the 41, and a flag comes in at the end of the play. They drafted, the Packers did, 3 rookie running backs. Here's Walt Anderson.
Holding, number 63, offense. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Center Lindsley. Jamal Williams, they think, is the best of the 3 rookie running backs, and that's why he's in there.
Remember Grady Jarrett in the Super Bowl? Watch this. This is why Lindsley had to hold. This is one of the quicker guys inside. He had 3 sacks during the season last year, but he had 3 in that Super Bowl game and was a real force. That's going to be a great battle inside with Lindsley.
Lindsley out of Ohio State started as a rookie after he was drafted in the 5th round. 4th year.
Ready, go.
Play clock at 0. Rodgers says, "Get me the ball." And this is Williams going next to nowhere. Be 3rd down and 14 for Green Bay.
You know what I was thinking about now is Mike McCarthy. He's got 2 new tackles in there, right? And what did he say? It's 3rd down and 13 in this situation. He said sometimes in this game, even though he doesn't want me to, I have to protect Aaron from Aaron. He wants to go spread it out on every snap. Sometimes I have to make sure my quarterback doesn't get hurt. This is going to be an interesting play call right here.
He could always change it at the line, too.
Yeah, don't care what you call.
3rd and 13. Rolling to the right, as is the entire line. And then firing downfield a little bit too low and incomplete, intended for Cobb. So it's 4th down.
Well, this is where you get a Martellus Bennett, a veteran player that understands the way the game's played. You know you're trying to protect your quarterback. So what do? You roll him out. But watch the quickness of Bennett on the outside, jumping out and getting Vic Beasley to jump inside of him to give Aaron Rodgers a chance. They had a chance to convert that one.
This is the rookie punter, Justin Vogel, his 2nd NFL game. Flag is thrown. Catch made at the 24 by Andre Roberts, and he gets ridden out of bounds after a run back of about 3 yards. But a flag is down back at the 30-yard line near the line of scrimmage. Final half minute of the opening quarter. Anderson looks like he's out of breath.
There are 2 fouls, both by the receiving team. Holding number 30 of the receiving team. That foul was during the return. That penalty's declined. Holding number 36, the receiving team. That was during the kick. Be a 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down, Atlanta.
Well, PFF will tell us from this championship game that it was Julio Jones and those in-cuts that made such a difference. A perfect quarterback rating, 158.3. Not bad on those other routes either. He was working against Ladarius Gunter, and look at the numbers he put up there for Ladarius Gunter. He was the #1 cornerback option for the Green Bay Packers in that championship game. How far advanced are they now? Ladarius Gunter was cut the other day, so they feel much improved in the secondary.
They didn't want him to return to the scene of the crime.
Oh,
but he hooked on with the Carolina Panthers. So the ball is at the 13 as Atlanta begins its 3rd drive of the night. The running back is Freeman. You have Derek Coleman in at fullback. And off the play fake, Matthews comes around the corner, but Ryan gets it away, and he hits Mohamed Sanu for a big gain. Dan Quinn is there to greet him. bang him on the shoulder pads, and a gain of 24.
Well, as soon as you end up getting a little play action going and you get Julio Jones screaming down the left sideline, there are going to be gaps in behind in that defense. And Mohamed Sanu, he is not the fastest guy, but he is a guy that really understands zone defenses, and you need a guy, and Matt Ryan was so excited to have him.
End of the quarter with the score of the Green Bay Packers 7, the Atlanta Falcons 7. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Atlanta from Midtown heading downtown. Some beautiful architecture here. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya start the second quarter with the first down at the 37-yard line. And Ryan off play action. Steps up, throws on the run. A little too far. Intended for Taylor Gabriel. It'll be second down and 10.
I think Matt Ryan's going to be upset with himself here. Julio Jones working against the rookie Kevin King on the outside. Watch how open he is in man coverage. Kevin King said, I'm getting the heck out of here. There was a lot of space, but it was Ryan who looked left and never saw it.
From up in the catwalk, a look at the halo board around the upper rim of the stadium on opening night, at least as far as the NFL regular season is concerned. Ryan dances, throws, that's caught. That's Sanu, another catch into Green Bay territory and all the way down to the 39-yard line. Then the crowd salutes him with a Sanu chant.
Boy, that was rough. Clinton Dix is going to come right. He's in alert position. That's an outside technique. That is not the fault of the cornerback. That should have been blown up or intercepted. They just missed an opportunity by Clinton Dix on that one. They had the perfect defense called for that play.
From the 39, Ryan has begun the game 5 of 8 for 107 yards to this point. 4-man rush. Ryan throws on the run. That's incomplete. Crowd wants a flag, and there is none that comes in. That's Kevin King, the rookie, on Andre Roberts, second and 10. The QBs tonight. 107 yards for Ryan, 45 for Aaron Rodgers at this point. Atlanta with 123 total yards, and Green Bay with 73.
Well, you just wonder how much right tackle Ty Sambrailo knows about this offense. He was just traded September 1st over here. I think they just said, you see 52 out there, you got him.
Second and 10. And stumbling in the backfield, Tevin Coleman cannot get on track. Quentin Dial is right there to stop him. 3rd and 12. We go to Michelle again.
Yeah, well, Ryan Schrader is now out with a concussion, so Ty Sambrailo will remain in there for as long as he can. And Courtney Upshaw is also downgraded to out, Al, with that ankle injury.
Yeah, already a ton of injuries tonight. You got Jordy Nelson, you got Daniels out questionable, Schrader's out for the game, and so is Upshaw.
Yeah, and Sambrailo, he didn't get Clay Matthews on that one. He went right through him.
3rd and 12. Move Jones into the slot. And Ryan looks that way, hits Jones, and Jones will pick up the first down. On a 3rd and 12. Put him in the slot, sent him on an out pattern, broke a tackle, broke away from Rollins, and converts on the 15-yard gain.
Well, there's just so much pressure. You put him in motion. Now you don't even get to jam him off the line of scrimmage, and here he comes. Easy, right? You see the first down marker, just make the tackle, and nobody can. I mean, that is what makes him such a difference maker. He and Antonio Brown with the quickness, this guy with the size and the speed. They have been the dominant receivers in this game for a number of years now.
Nice play design. Ain't easy getting Jones that open. Freeman exploits a hole, takes it to the 20. 2nd down and 4. Steve Sarkisian is the offensive coordinator. He had been the head coach at the University of Washington. That's where he got to know Dan Quinn when Quinn was with Seattle. Went to SC, that didn't work out, got fired there. Then he wound up at Alabama with Saban as a consultant and analyst. And then when Lane Kiffin left, Sarkisian actually called the offense in the national championship game last year when they lost to Clemson. Then he came here.
And really had the game-winning drive put together before Clemson went back the other way to win it.
2nd and 5. Ball at the 21-yard line. Ryan over the middle. That's caught at the 10-yard line. Trying to work his way into the end zone is Justin Hardy. And they stop him just a little bit shy. So the 3rd-year receiver out of East Carolina had 4 TDs last year, sets up a 1st and goal and a 19-yard pickup.
When you can run the ball, look what happens. You step up, play action fake, and throw it right behind him. There you go. And then all you have to do is beat the one-on-one coverage with this tremendous receiving group on the outside. They are big, they are fast, and they are all pretty strong. And that guy right there knows how to manipulate this offense just like Aaron Rodgers does on the other side.
1st and goal. 9th play of the drive. 2 runs, 6 passes to this point. And pass number 7 is incomplete. Intended for Jones. That's King, the rookie, getting baptism by fire tonight. 2nd and goal. King says, hey, man, I watched you on TV all those years.
How about a little family feud going on right here? We have Clay Matthews going against his cousin, Jake Matthews. He tried to hold him. Really should have cut his cousin on that one. Just get those hands down. It may have had a little something to do with that throw.
Real cousins, the first cousins.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you hear guys are cousins, they're like 9th cousins. This is the real deal.
Real cousins.
2nd down and goal. Freeman looks for a spot and gets into the end zone. Started over the left side, saw daylight on the right side, and in he goes. 87 yards, 10 plays, 2nd great drive by the Falcons tonight.
Now, anytime you are dealing with Devontae Freeman, you have to know this play could come back anywhere. Look at those wide receivers blocking on the outside. Justin Hardy. You got Austin Hooper. You got Mohamed Sanu. The wide receivers make as many touchdown blocks on this team as any team in the league.
Matt Bryant, who led the league in scoring last year. That's what happens when you're with a high-powered offense like that. You get a lot of extra points and a few field goals. 14-7, home team. We can see that halo that surrounds the entire upper rim of the stadium, and there we are on the halo.
There we go.
What do you have to say to the folks here? Hold it up.
There you go. They can't hear us, so we just have to.
Right. There you go. No booing. It's the first time you and I have ever had the word halo attached to us. I'll tell you that.
Or a halo over us.
Right.
Unbelievable. What a place this is. It really is exciting, though. You know, every time we come to a new stadium, get a chance to open it up, and they just keep getting more and more impressive. It's an awesome place.
Yeah, we've opened up a few in the 12 years of Sunday Night Football. Last year in Minnesota, where the Packers lost. That's Jeff Janis in the end zone. Take it to the 25.
Well, one of the magical combinations has been these two guys playing together, and it just doesn't seem to matter. First in the NFL, you're talking about on 3rd down. Look at those numbers in the red zone. Maybe even more impressive, because it's so hard to make those connections down there where there's so many defenders backed up in that red zone, and yet it has been some sort of a mind game between those two. It has been a lot of fun to watch. And hopefully Jordy Nelson is just fine.
Came out in the first quarter. We have 11:10 to go here in the second quarter. Rodgers, despite 2 new tackles, no Nelson, empties the backfield on 1st down, and a quick flip to the left side to Devontae Adams. Had a big year last year. Tackled by Devondre Campbell. Gain of 9, 2nd down and 1.
Well, anytime you're trying to protect your offensive line, watch them all cut down here. So you just want to give them as many different looks, Al, as you possibly can. So you stand up, you double team, you chip, and every once in a while give those offensive linemen a chance to cut those guys. One more thing to think about.
And Rodgers heard the whistle before the snap.
This is the first charge timeout, Atlanta. 30-second timeout.
You know, Chris, one thing about, the Falcons, look, let's face it, it is the albatross. It is the scarlet letter. What happened in the Super Bowl last year? And it's easy to say, and it's, words are one thing, actions are another thing. We're getting past it. We're over it and all that stuff. Really? I mean, how do you get through that? As a guy who lost 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't want to bring that up, but
Yeah, no, and one of them we had the lead until about 30 seconds to go in the game. The bottom line is you don't get over it. There hasn't been a day of my life, I don't think, that I haven't thought about it at one time or another and what you could have done differently, and when it was that close a game, like we had one that was that close. So you just go back to work, and it was interesting hearing Dan Quinn talk about it. He said the second day of training camp I was watching him work, started feeling pretty good about it.
And then you've got Montgomery trying to slip to the outside and can't. Ricardo Allen comes up to stop him. So on a 2nd and 1, they push him back, and that'll make it 3rd down and 3.
Well, you've got 3 tight ends in the game, so that means the free safety Ricardo Allen's going to come down and be a part of this on the outside. So it's just man-on-man football. I tell you, this Ricardo Allen, he has a heck of a tough job. In this defense, he is the Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas is only the greatest guy to play in the middle of the field, I think, that I've seen in many, many years. So that is those are big shoes to fill up.
3rd and 3, and Rodgers throws and finds the man for a 1st down. On a 3rd and 3, that's Geronimo Allison, who was suspended for 1 game, so he comes back for the 2nd game this season. Had a TD against Atlanta last year on the first reception of his career.
It's interesting to watch Aaron Rodgers. He starts with that right foot back, and that was seen as quite the innovation a few years ago. And he said it's all about the timing. Under center, when you take a 3-step drop, you end up going 1, 2, 3 throw. You put the other foot back, which a lot of quarterbacks do. It just didn't feel like the same rhythm, and now a lot of quarterbacks are copying Aaron Rodgers.
Little fake on the end around, and Rodgers gets swallowed up. That's Campbell coming in there, and after the fake handoff, it's Campbell who comes in for the sack of Rodgers.
A lot of times, and I've seen this happen before, that the running back can actually knock off a decent block. You see Ty Montgomery come in there, and I thought Justin McCray was in a pretty decent position, but instead of helping on the chip, he really knocked him off the block.
1 sack and only 1 other hit tonight, and 10 dropbacks. 2nd down and 18 from the 32-yard line. Rodgers fires, caught up at the 49-yard line. That is Randall Cobb. Just a little shy of the 1st down. Desmond Trufant makes the tackle. They got 17 of the 18 back. 3rd and 1.
Here we go. Let's watch our guy right here playing in his first game as a pro, Justin McCray. Big shot there, and then just stays after Brooks Reed. Very nicely done. He has done fine. Believe me, he is doing fine in this game.
8 minutes left in the half. Crowd with full throat now, and then you got Justin McCray.
What did I just do to him, Al?
It's the kibosh. It's the full kibosh. You know that.
False start, number 64, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
They're your normal starters, Balaga and Bakhtiari. McCray was probably reading the text, and somebody said, hey, Collinsworth said you're doing great tonight.
That snap count is borderline unfair to defenders, but for a new offensive tackle, you get the feeling it may be a little unfair to him. Green 19, green 19, and then he goes, and screams it, and he got Justin McCray.
5 receivers set, 3rd and 6. Rodgers throws, and it is. The Falcons say no, and the officials agree. Bennett can't come up with it. So Rodgers and Bennett have a tough time connecting tonight. 4th down.
Well, that's the second one that Bennett's had a shot at. No question, the ground helped with that catch. And that's a big miss. You know, you make back-to-back mistakes. You had a ball that was catchable, and you jump off sides, and it killed a drive. So put a check next to that one.
Justin Vogel, a rookie from Miami, had a 57-yard punt in his debut last week against the Seahawks. This is a high, relatively short kick, and he will get a nice little bounce out of it. Rolls dead at the 10-yard line. 7:14 left in the half. Got good food in this place. 14-7. Daniels, no more action for him tonight. The nose tackle done for the evening. They are really thin now on that defensive front. Atlanta starting now from the 9-yard line. A little over 7 minutes to play in the half. They're up by a touchdown. And now you got Tevin Coleman is off to the races and gets finally forced out of bounds by Clinton Dix after a run of 35 yards on first down.
You have to be careful with the speed of Tevin Coleman. You'll see him overplay it inside here. It looks like a right over the center run, and yet just like we saw on the touchdown with Devontae Freeman, you have to be ready, and Tevin Coleman can fly. He's the speed guy. Freeman is the quickness guy.
Bryant took him to the line without a huddle here, and then hands the ball off to the other back, the 1-2 punch. Coleman and Devontae Freeman, both good runners, good pass catchers, and were hugely instrumental in that phenomenal year they had offensively last season when the Falcons averaged 34 points per game.
Yeah, I remember studying the draft with Tevin Coleman, and he was at Indiana, and watching him, he broke out a couple against Ohio State, and we know how fast their secondary is. A lot of guys playing in the NFL, and he was pulling away from everybody. He can fly. He doesn't have the moves of Freeman, but a great 1-2 punch.
2nd and 9. Freeman sets up deep, 8 yards back. Fake it to him. Ton of time for Ryan. Slings it, caught. Jones inside the 35. Breaking tackles. Julio Jones to the 27-yard line. Broke away first from Kentrell Bryce, and that's a gain of 28.
Well, and that's exactly what happened here, Al. You got right here Kentrell Bryce. This is a double team. Those two guys have Julio Jones. The problem is he gobbles up so much ground. He just got all the way up on Kentrell Bryce and blew right past him. So sometimes double teams, they sound great, but they can be awfully difficult. Now you have a safety on Julio Jones in man coverage.
Jones 4 catches tonight, 96 yards. Had only 66 last week in the entire game in Chicago. Quick toss out here. Gabriel to the 26-yard line. He goes. Morgan Burnett makes the stop. Gain of a couple. 2nd and 8. Dom Capers, the defensive coordinator. He's been the DC there for 9 years. Of course, it was Dom who was the original coach of the Carolina Panthers and then the original coach of the Houston Texans when they came in as an expansion team. And that is caught by Austin Hooper, who had an 88-yard touchdown last week in the game in Chicago.
Yeah, pretty polished route runner. You saw him on that one give a hard head and shoulder fake back to the inside to get himself open. It's kind of interesting, this nitro defense that they play for the Green Bay Packers. They play the safety Morgan Burnett down inside, and I think eventually you'll also see Josh Jones maybe replace the other linebacker in there, be it Blake Martinez, Joe Thomas, or Jake Ryan. The whole game is about passing right now, and they're getting faster.
3rd and 5. Ryan under pressure. Down he goes. Clay Matthews. Sooner or later, 52 is going to get you. 6 Pro Bowls in his 8 seasons to this point.
Yeah, one of the problems is you end up with these two guys. You're going to end up with a stunt coming back inside. That's called the old pick tough, where the inside guy, in that case Clay Matthews, goes out and pushes the tackle off of his guy, but then turns and has a direct path to the quarterback.
Bryant, now this is a 51-yard field goal. His career long was 62 when he was with the Bucks. And Bryant is able to bang it through. Good job there by Bosher. to get it down. Uncle Bruce right there. 17-7 Atlanta. Is tremendous to look at it when you saw what they did in about 2 hours. They hope to get it down to a matter of minutes as they work on the tweaks. But it's opened up tonight. It's a clear night in Atlanta. Temperature is in the high 70s right now. And that's down in the end zone. And we go to Michelle.
Well, if you guys are hungry, you know, Arthur Blank wanted to make this stadium fan-friendly by keeping the cost of concessions low. So hot dogs are $2. Sodas are $2 with free refills from soda machines placed around the concourse. Nachos, $3. Popcorn, $2. And Blank mandated that those same prices remain for all events held here, including the College Football National Championship, the Super Bowl, and Final Four when they are here, Al.
Mr. and Mrs. Arthur Blank. I haven't seen, you know, Chris, I haven't seen those prices on a menu since 1974.
Really?
Oh, maybe 83. I don't know.
Go ahead, take it on back a little bit more.
Hey,
tell us about your birth.
Nah, that's really cruel. You're a better guy than that. I got to talk to Holly about this. That's Montgomery, who gets taken down in the flat by Keanu Neal. I knew Woodrow Wilson personally, by the way.
Well, there's Keanu Neal coming up and making a play. He has really come on and was such a key part of this defense during the Super Bowl, during that playoff run, has really become quite the leader there. He forced 5 fumbles a season ago, and that tied for the rookie record in 2016. But he is the enforcer in there. He is the Cam Chancellor, if you will, of this Seattle-like defense.
2nd and 12. Rodgers surveying. Down the sideline he goes, and that's incomplete again, trying to hook up with Bennett. Targeted him a few times tonight, but Bennett still looking for that first Green Bay grab.
Yeah, and he's had a few opportunities. Looked that way in the beginning, and then the scramble drill starts, right? What they tell us, they've got one play, which is the ordinary route, and then it starts when Aaron Rodgers starts looking around and scrambling around, and they work very hard on that second component of that play when that starts with Rodgers.
3rd and 12. 4-man rush. Rodgers so good from outside the pocket. You get a flag down here, and that's incomplete again, intended for Bennett. And we'll hear from Walt Anderson. The flag was on the other side of the field.
Prior to the pass, holding, number 23, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Alford on Devontae Adams.
Boy, that one
costly.
hurts.
Yeah, that's a costly penalty.
3rd down penalties when it's 3rd and that long. Just hooked him around the shoulder. It looked a little bit like, and that was exactly what Mike McCarthy ordered up there.
Marquand Manuel is the defensive coordinator, the new defensive coordinator, former defensive back with Seattle. Very well known to Dan Quinn, obviously. Brought him here, takes over the DC job, and that's deflected and nearly picked off. And Allison can't come up with it. Deion Jones got a hand on it. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Rodgers was trying to influence the linebacker to his left, but it was this one. He got that linebacker to move up, Duke Riley, but he never saw Deion Jones coming in behind. And Aaron Rodgers threw an interception last week. He never saw the guy either, and that was a defensive lineman. Don't get many shots like that against Aaron Rodgers.
2nd and 10 at the 28-yard line. And Rodgers backpedals, throws too high, and then Adams gets spilled by Ricardo Allen. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Yeah, anytime you see a ball thrown that high as a wide receiver, you have a duty and an obligation to jump, but you also know where you're about to land, and you're about to land hard on your backside. I thought actually Ricardo Allen kind of took care of him on that one. I've seen it a lot worse than that.
For sure. 3rd and 10. Adams has to go to the bench. Nelson's already out of the game. Play clock at 1. Rogers in the pocket, fires, and that's nearly picked again. That is Brian Pools at a real nice half on a pass intended for Randall Cobb, 4th down.
Yeah, and what we're seeing now is the pressure is starting to get home now, because Rogers just simply cannot watch this stunt come back inside here, and Rogers takes it right in the chops. So he didn't have time to look around on that one and got away with 2 on that drive.
So 2:11 left in the half. Sky high boot, fair catch called for, but there's contact there, and then the ball rolls back to the 45-yard line, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning. 1:59 precisely left in the half. Coming up, the Toyota halftime. Trevor Siemian, 4 touchdown passes. Denver's defense stifles Dallas. Kelsey had a big day for the Chiefs, who are now 2-0. Coming up at the half. Cool sculpture out front. The Atlanta Falcon outside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. There are the Matthews guys. Jake, son of Bruce, who's in the Hall of Fame. Cousin Clay, son of Clay Matthews, who had a 19-year career mainly with Cleveland. So 1:59, 2 timeouts for Atlanta. Ball at the 44, and the handoff here goes to Devontae Freeman, who goes next to nowhere.
Well, we have some changes in this Green Bay secondary. The future is now for them right now. A couple of the draft picks, Kevin King playing on the outside now at the cornerback position, and Josh Jones in there, and they think he is very bright in their future. A 4.41 guy that was #1 at the combine in his bench press, and hit all kinds of standards there. They think he can really pound it on the back end.
Jones, the rookie out of North Carolina State. And Ryan gets jostled. Kevin King is there for the coverage. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
Yeah, that was they're going right to work on Kevin King, but he played that one perfectly. They had the pick, rub, whatever you want to call it, coming across the field at him, and he ducked underneath and had enough speed to keep up. That's about as tough an assignment. Watch the pick coming from the other receiver coming across the field. He ducks underneath it and makes a play. Well done.
Freeman split wide left. Ryan steps up, fires. Jones can't make the catch. So that's a pretty quick 3 and out, and it's going to leave Green Bay some time on the other side, and they have all of their timeouts.
Well, you want to know why they play the nitro defense? Right there. They get a safety with great speed in the middle of the field instead of a linebacker on Julio Jones. So there you see pretty nice couple of plays by the back end of this Green Bay defense, and he is very much the leader on the back end. Has been asked to take on a very tough role playing inside a linebacker. He's done a great job of it.
Bosher's second punt, his first was 50 yards. Trevor Davis back to accept it. Fair catch is called for at the 10-yard line. So Thursday night kicks off week 3, 49ers and the Rams. Thursday night football coverage begins at 6 Eastern time, kickoff at 8:26 only on the NFL Network. You will be there, my boy, and with Mike Tirico. Let me ask you a question. This is week 2. I understand it. Nobody's going to win anything tonight. You're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Illegal block in the back, number 83, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down, Green Bay.
All right, from deep in their own territory. You know, we mentioned before, all right, the Falcons have to, get rid of the albatross. It's week 2, I understand. But if they win this game, I mean, this is a big one for them in more ways than just the second week on the schedule, I think.
You know, I sort of laugh because think how the narrative changed from like 3 minutes to go in the third quarter of that Super Bowl. Right. All the Falcons fans, I was sitting in the crowd that day. They're taking selfies, celebrating the moment. Everybody was about to say, boy, Tom Brady must be getting old. It's the end of a run for the Patriots. And what happened? Here they come all the way back, but that was a great team Atlanta had a season ago.
Yeah, that was the ultimate flip the script. in the last 17 minutes as Adams makes the catch. Gain of 8. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
But think of what they did in those playoffs, and think of what Matt Ryan did. 9 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He had a quarterback rating of 144 in the Super Bowl. He won the MVP with a 117 rating to give you some idea how well he played.
2nd down and 2. 63 seconds left in the half. And there's a 1st down as Cobb is wide open. You saw the flag come in. So for the moment, he takes the ball to the midfield stripe. But and it's going to go against Green Bay because Rodgers is pleading his case. And they're walking him back right now.
I don't know about that one. If they called that one a pick.
Pass interference, number 80, offense. Half the distance to the goal, still 2nd down.
Let's see what he did here.
There we go. He's going to take a pretty straight line out here. I think it was beyond that 1 yard downfield. Picks are legal within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage. But he almost looked as surprised. Maybe he's just a good actor. He's an animation expert. So he comes out. Yeah, probably the right one.
We saw Rodgers argue. Brady argued that today in the New Orleans game, and he won the argument on what would have been a pick. But within a yard of the line of scrimmage, it's not a pick. 2nd down and 8 from the 6 yard line.
Yeah.
And a false start.
Randall Cobb flinched and tried to make it look like he went in motion.
False start, number 18, offense. Half the distance to the goal, still 2nd down.
2nd and 11.
And now you have a problem because the Falcons still have a couple of timeouts and you're backed up. You do not want to punt the football back to Dan Quinn's squad at the 50-yard line here.
What you really want is an incomplete pass. That would stop the clock. If you can stop them well short of the 1st down, they can take their timeout defensively. And Rodgers throws, and that's going to be picked off at the 34-yard line. Desmond Trufant with a beautiful pick just inbounds. Trying to hit Geronimo Allison.
I have no idea what Geronimo Allison's doing. Now maybe this is picked off anyway, but watch Allison slow down on the top end of this route. Looked like it was thrown more to Trufant. Now maybe he thought it was going to be a back shoulder throw because if the corner is on top of the receiver, it's almost automatic to throw it to the back shoulder. But one of the prices you pay when the experience of Jordy Nelson goes out, and Allison forced into that role.
8th career interception for Desmond Trufant, and sets Atlanta up in good shape at the 36. And 2 timeouts.
Yeah, still they have the 2 timeouts.
Kevin Coleman in the backfield with Ryan. And Matt stepping up, stepping away, and slides to a stop close to a 1st down. His knee went down just short of it. Clock keeps rolling. Timeout is called, and we're back at 30.
This is the 2nd charge timeout, Atlanta. 30-second timeout.
Well, the Falcons are leading 17-7, and the statistics are reflective of that. Got a 3-to-1 ratio in rush yardage, a 2-to-1 ratio in pass yardage, and 230 yards, 103 for Green Bay, and most of those came on the first drive of the game. Next to nothing since then. 2nd and 2 after the timeout. Ryan fires over the middle, caught Sanu. Big half for Mohamed Sanu to the 7, 1st down and goal. Got position on Randall. And Quinn's going to take another timeout. That's a 21-yard gain, 29 seconds to the half.
Well, this is tough for Demarius Randall because he is being asked now to play in the slot. I think some of the early passes they completed over Quentin Rollins, they made the move, they brought Kevin King in the game, but I don't think Randall has a lot of experience in there, and that was just one of those quick fake out and go back in. So right now this secondary is going to be tested, and that interception was absolutely huge. They needed to get out of here at halftime down 10, and it certainly doesn't look that way now.
So it's 1st and goal. Ryan with 194 passing yards. Jones has 95 receiving yards, and Sanu has caught 3 for 69. 2 for 2 in the zone tonight. Trying to make it 3 for 3 on a 1st and goal. And to the outside, that will be taken in at the 3.5-yard line by Austin Hooper. 2nd down and goal with 24 ticks.
Well, they got the old hoop.
Hoops.
Hoop. After what he did last week, why not? He ate 2 plays in the 4th quarter of that Bears game that just turned it around for Dan Quinn in a game that they really easily could have lost up there. And of course, today it was Tampa rushing them in Tampa.
2nd and goal. And to the outside, touchdown. Tevin Coleman holds it in. Ryan with his first touchdown in the new building, and 201 passing yards tonight.
Nice job right here. Watch him get outside of him, Austin Hooper, and anything that was coming from inside out, he was able to get in front of the man coverage and make that play. Pretty nicely designed right there by Steve Sarkisian.
Bryant for the point after. 19 seconds, all set up by the interception by Trufant. 24-7. Falcons back in 30 seconds. "19 seconds. They just threw a flag on Mike McCarthy, who came out on the field. He can be upset about a lot of things. What do you think this is about, Chris?
I think it's about the pick play that went the other way, because they would have been able to get out of this half without points on the board.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct with Green Bay head coach, a 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. This is his first unsportsmanlike foul of the game.
Yeah, one more and he's gone.
Yeah. It's the rule that went into effect last year. You get 2 of those and go to the locker room.
You know, sometimes you do things just to wake up your team. You know, I don't think that's going to be any huge deal. There's 19 seconds to go here.
Right.
Add a little spark going into halftime. But it'll be interesting to see exactly what the Falcons do here on this kickoff. So here comes Bennett to the outside. He is on a direct path and clearly picks right there, but I'm not so sure that, well, here we go. Once you're past the 1-yard mark, does he get past there? I don't know. I think that one probably, I didn't feel good about it at the time. I don't feel good about it now. I think McCarthy has a point.
Yeah, he's nauseous about it. So they'll take the ball at the 20. They will get the ball at the 25. They will get the ball with Green Bay to start the second half, since they deferred after winning the opening toss. You go back to the playoff game here last year, the NFC Championship game. Atlanta led 24-0 at the half. So 48-7 in the 2 first halves the last 2 times that Green Bay has come south.
Yeah, that's big too. I mean, you don't know, because of that big play, if it had stood. That means that maybe the Packers score some points, and instead it turns into a touchdown the other way. That was a huge swing.
Hey, wrong. Yeah. Set up. 19. 94.
If nothing else, Rodgers just looking for a free play here.
Ball start, number 84, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You would think normally it would just be a kneel down, but he's so good at getting the opposition to go offside, come across the line. He was going to try it there, and then you just launch a Hail Mary, and who knows?
Yeah, a free play. But Al, you picked up on it last week. That whole green 19, green 19, and a lot of times his voice goes down. It's like, set up, green 19, set up, green 19, set up, and then all of a sudden it's green 19, and then everybody jumps. So far tonight, it's been his guys.
Like guttural sounds. Well, the Atlanta Falcons coming off a win last week and looking very sharp tonight, leading the Green Bay Packers at the half by a score of 24-7. Coming up next, Toyota halftime, right after these messages from your NBC station. It's at 24-7 in favor of the Falcons. Aaron Rodgers has been limited to 85 yards in the first half and had that one pick which led to an Atlanta score. Matt Ryan, good half, already 201 yards. That's 57 straight games in which he has thrown for 200 or more passing yards. Running attack has been decent tonight with Freeman and Coleman doing decent work. And Julio Jones, a big half, 4 catches for 95 yards. That is the buzz here in Atlanta on opening night in terms of regular season football at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoya. Week 2 of the NFL season. So Bosher to kick off, and you've got Jeff Janis standing at the goal line. Second half is underway from the Georgia State Capitol, beginning with the touchback. And we go to Michelle.
Well, you saw Mike McCarthy very angry about that offensive pass interference call. He was livid walking into the locker room telling me it wasn't a pick play. It was a double move and the guy ran into him. It was a horrendous call and ridiculous to make that call that late. As for Jordy Nelson, he remains questionable with a quad injury. They worked on him at halftime. We'll see. And then defensive back and special teams contributor Kentrell Bryce is out with a groin injury.
It continues, and of course, Michelle, we started the game knowing that the 2 top tackles are both out, but the guy's doing a decent job tonight. See if Nelson can get back in the game. They could use him. They start with Montgomery, and he will get a few yards out of it. Turns 2 into about 4 up to the 29-yard line, and it'll be second down and 6.
Yeah, and even though the pressure hasn't always gotten there in this game, Rodgers is getting the ball out of his hands an average of 2.47 seconds. That is the quickest he's had to get the ball out of his hands in the last 20 games. So what Aaron Rodgers does so well is sort of buy time and move around, and we really haven't seen that happen much in this one. And I think in part, obviously, because of what's going on with the tackle position.
Well, he is the master of extended plays, but that has not happened tonight to this point anyway. Second down. Look out, and he just flips it away because Vic Beasley came in. It looks like it's a live. Is it a live ball? If it is, it's going to be a touchdown, and that's going to be true fun. Was it a forward pass or not is the question. So the officials are now conferring, and the question is the ball going forward?
And that's the point, Al. It has to go forward, a lateral, a pure lateral. Now let's see where his arm, where that hand actually is. He's going to reach back, so he's on about the, whatever, just short there.
Ruling on the field was a backward pass, picked up by the defense and returned for a touchdown.
Well, the one thing about it, you don't have to challenge it because it's automatically reviewed. There is the line of scrimmage.
Boy, that was...
Man, it's right down the line. It's right down it.
And if it's ruled that way, if it's ruled right down the line, that also is a lateral. Remember, a lateral can be parallel, but once it goes forward at all, it's a forward pass.
Actually, that was the line designated where the ball left his hand. Beasley creates this whole thing by coming in and putting the heat on. So here it is again. And it's right down the line.
I mean, if anything, maybe it went from the back half of the blue line to the front half of the blue line, but it's going to be really interesting. Can you overturn it based on anything we saw there? That's your opinion's as good as mine. What do you think?
Well, I think this is one of those, call on the field is going to probably stand. because you can't. I mean, you can't tell. Be by inches.
Like
the ball leaves right.
20
It's
and a half.
right down the line.
You know, I couldn't say. The ball, look, when you first see it from that angle, it does look like it's coming forward, but from where his hand was and where the ball landed,
sure.
I mean,
so Anderson with River on in New York as they discuss this.
The officials on the field did the right thing by letting that play out. You can always go back and fix it and replay, but you can't give them the touchdown if in fact it was a lateral, and it certainly was close enough to play out. And the Halo is getting a whole bunch of replays on this one.
So you have defensive contact. With defensive contact, the rule says you can still call it a forward pass with contact, and clearly there's contact. The hand is coming forward, not very clear.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Yeah, you know, Mike brought it up in the game the other night on Thursday about if you go through the games last week and what I saw today, more calls are standing where there's any sort of a question.
Yeah, that was brutal. It was Dontari Poe who got the initial penetration and Aaron Rodgers' attention, and by the time he turned to his right, it was Beasley right in his face.
Matt Bryant with the point after. Well, Rodgers has had only one pick six in his career. That's not a pick six. That's a fumble return, and it's 31-7. After the fumble return, so a 24-point deficit now, 56 seconds into the third quarter. And Bosher's kickoff. Last one went to the back of the end zone, and this one deep enough to the 25-yard line. Back to the replay.
Well, and one of the interesting things, Al, and we hit on it, that they let the play go because they can always overturn it and replay. But the problem with that is it becomes the de facto tiebreaker. So now, if in fact that were ruled a forward pass by the officials on the field, I think it would have been just as tough to overturn that. So just that little nuance of the rule is they don't want to blow it dead and kill what could be a touchdown kind of worked in the favor of the Atlanta Falcons on that play.
Without doubt, as you look at the Packer possessions, they look great on their first drive. Since then, punt, interception, the half, and the fumble return. So from the 25, Rodgers holds it against his hip. Look out. Gets spun around. Finally extends the play, as he's done so many times in his illustrious career. Brooks Reed finally got to him and forced the throw out of bounds, second down.
Well, down the field, these defensive backs have practiced all week that just because you've covered somebody for 3, 4, 5 seconds, if you stop, Aaron Rodgers is going to make you pay. So in this case, they had all those tight ends in the block, but nobody was able to scramble open until too late.
Ready, go. 42. Ready, go.
On 2nd and 10, pressure again. He has to dump it to Montgomery. And the slippery one turns it into a nice gain of about 15 yards. Ty Montgomery, the top running back. Pressure put on that time by the rookie Tack McKinley.
Yeah, you hit on it out. Tack McKinley, I think this guy is going to be a major factor as the season goes on for the Atlanta Falcons. He only played a handful of plays in that game the other day, 14, but he was really something.
Now pass caught, Adams. And Adams will pick up a first down. Covered by Alford on the play. So back-to-back first downs. Rodgers picking up the pace. Ball will be spotted at the 44 of the Falcons.
Well, I feel fairly confident in saying that Not many Falcons fans are completely comfortable with this lead.
Well, this one's only 24, not 25.
There you go.
And that's caught by Cobb. And Cobb with the first down and a few more to the 25-yard line. So Rodgers picking up the pace. And he's picked up 3 first downs in a row.
Now, they're just simply going to try and change the way they're playing the game here, because right now Atlanta has backed off a little bit. They're not playing the press coverage, they're playing back, and obviously Aaron Rodgers understands he's got some protection issues up front, so he's getting this ball out of his hands.
Ready, go. Ready, go.
Line of scrimmage to 26. Caught over the middle. 9-yard gain. That's Randall Cobb setting up a second down and short at the 17.
Not so sure I would change my approach defensively if I were the Atlanta Falcons. You can still be aggressive, and with this kind of lead, if you give up a big play, you give up a big play, but you don't want the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers getting some momentum.
Second down and short. This is Jamal Williams, rookie 4th-round draft pick out of Brigham Young, and he'd be the backup back to Montgomery.
Yeah, he was a good player at BYU, and
An injured Falcon.
An important Falcon.
Yeah, that's Beasley. Vic Beasley writhing in pain on the ground. Well, the good news is that Beasley is up and walking around. He's able to walk off under his own power, though he's pretty frustrated and upset right now. And here's what happened.
Yeah, he's not a big guy, so when pressure starts coming and you could see that left leg fold under a bit, we'll try to get your report as soon as we can.
Taking him back to look at him. First down from the 13. That's Cobb. And Cobb spinning his way, trying to pick up the first down. Stays inbounds. Appears to be a little short. Alfred and Campbell both make the tackle. It'll be second down and inches.
I just can't believe how much space they're giving them right now. I mean, the linebackers are playing 7 or 8 yards off. The corners are back, and they're inside the 15-yard line. I don't know. Not for me.
They gave him a first down. Good spot for the Packers. Appear to be a little short, but they put it at the 3, and it's a first down and goal.
Now they're back up in their press coverage that was so successful early.
And Rodgers buying time, throws, touchdown. Randall Cobb, but a flag is down on the play. Cobb indicating that somebody grabbed his mask.
Pass interference, number 81, offense, 10-yard penalty, still first down.
So that's on Geronimo Allison.
And this is again a young player, because once you go in here, the goal is to just stutter or don't just make him hesitate, and you're going to have a touchdown. But when you make contact, you draw the flag. And there wasn't a lot of contact there, but there's a better way to do that, because Randall Cobb had already won the route. And Mike McCarthy's going to pull remaining hair out.
And pull a neck muscle as well. Because to look at the halo board up here, you got to go all the way back.
It wasn't built for the coaches.
No, it wasn't. Rodgers taken down to the 26-yard line. Adrian Claiborne got in there. And the 7th-year guy from Iowa takes him all the way back to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, and once the penalty happened on the pick play, now you've got problems. Now you're in a classic pass rush situation. You have Kyle Murphy, who did a nice job playing right tackle a week ago, now beginning to struggle at that left tackle position. Just zone coverage, nothing real complicated about it, but now we have the Packers in reverse.
So from first and goal to 3 to second and goal to 25. Rodgers, a little backhanded flip to Montgomery, and he gets taken out of bounds at the 10-yard line. So 3rd and goal from that spot. Allen makes the tackle.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, just come out here and just give them a little flip and let Montgomery do the rest. And, you know, this is kind of an interesting moment in the game here, Al. I guess you could make the point you kicked the field goal here, but it'll be a 4th down decision no matter what. I don't think you can assume you're going to shut down this Falcons offense for the rest of the day.
Right. I think it's 4th down territory here. I think you go for it. Bennett wide left. He still hasn't caught a pass tonight. And Rodgers fires over the middle, and that's dropped. Cobb can't hold it in the end zone. Traffic in there, and it's 4th down and goal, and he's going to send in Crosby for the field goal.
Yeah, linebacker Deion Jones right there, and they're going to try and throw it to the back shoulder. It was well done. It's exactly what they wanted. A little push off, just mistimed, and it's kind of been the story of the night for the Green Bay Packers. It's not that the plays aren't there, they're just not hitting them.
So McCarthy figuring I'm going to need a field goal at some point anyway, and it's 4th and goal from the 10. So Crosby is able to bang it through with ease from 28 with 9.5 to go in the 3rd. America's Got Talent finality right here on NBC. Or finale. Take your pick. That's taken by Andre Roberts for a touchback.
Well, Matt Ryan has been pretty special in this one so far. You can see that motion. It does have a little bit of a weird thing in the middle of it, but he's the MVP, so nobody's complaining. His release time, excellent. And then here's what he was working on in the offseason. He thought he was getting a little too much weight forward in his throwing motion. So just like a golf swing, want to keep it on that back foot, rotate those hips hard, and feels even better about his throwing motion now.
Oh, so that's the secret.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try it.
All right. Anything. Try anything.
I'm with you.
Here's Ryan. A little toss. Goes to Freeman. And he has a lot of room. And Freeman with a gain of about 17. Before he's sent into the Green Bay bench. Coleman, the fullback, led the charge with a nice block.
One of the toughest blocks in football right here by Jake Matthews, trying to get outside an excellent player, and Nick Perry gets it done. And then it was Derek Coleman with a good block down the field.
Now straight through the middle. And that's an 8-yard gain to the midfield stripe for Freeman, who's now carried the ball 9 times for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And this is what the Falcons can do to you. When they have a lead, they have the ability to start to grind it out. Andy Levitre coming around there with a huge block.
2nd and 2. And close to a first down. That's Clay Matthews making the tackle. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, those 2 defensive stops to open this second half are what Dan Quinn told me he hoped to see from his defense. He said, we know who is across from us. We have to take advantage of the explosive defensive plays when we can. But for right now, when they come back on D, they may be without Vic Beasley. We saw him limp off the field. He is questionable with a hamstring injury, Al.
All right, Michelle Beasley, the sack leader in the NFL last year with 15 and a half. 3rd down and 1 now from the 49 of Green Bay. And Ryan beginning to use a lot of the clock, approaching the halfway mark of the quarter. And this will take some time off the clock as well, because they'll move the change to the first down. Tevin Coleman to the 43-yard line.
That was a pretty sweet move that time by Tevin Coleman, right in the hole for on a 3rd down and short. That was a little bit more of a Devontae Freeman kind of run there. So these 2 guys, they're so tough. 13 touchdowns from Freeman, 11 from Coleman a season ago. Fantasy football dream team of running backs on this team.
Ryan with a deep drop, deep throw, too far. Justin Hardy covered by the rookie King. It'll be 2nd down. Nice balance tonight for Atlanta. 17 runs, 23 passes, 109 yards on the ground, 180 through the air.
Let's take a look at Ryan and see if we see what he was talking about, trying to keep the weight on that back foot, not get too far forward. There you go. Rotate the hips. It's amazing. Guy's MVP and is working on trying to improve his motion.
Technique. Rodgers does it too, basically. In the offseason, he always works on a couple of different things. A little swing pass to Freeman. Cuts it back to the middle of the field and should have the first down as he gets to the 33-yard line.
Well, one of the really effective tools when you have a mismatch on the outside is to just let Clay Matthews go. There are some times that he thinks he's going to beat Ty Sambrailo every single time, so let him believe it and then get. Here we go. He's going to come right out there. Sambrailo said goodbye, and then he leads the one-man screen down the field.
6:45 to go in the third. From the 33. The fake avoids the sack, and the pass is a short one caught at the 28-yard line by Sanu. Good night for him. Nick Perry put the pressure on that time, and Sanu's now caught 4 for 74.
Really strong move up in the pocket this time on the part of Matt Ryan. Nick Perry, one of the strongest guys in the league, looked like he had him. Pretty nice move by Sanu too to come back strongly to the football. Matt Ryan, he's not the flashiest of guys, is he? But man, does he make a lot of plays.
MVP last year. Leads him up to the line. 8th play of the drive. And chewing up some valuable clock. Off the fake. Throws out in the flat. And it's a little bit of a loss here as Coleman makes the catch. And Kevin King comes up for the tackle, making it 3rd down and about 4.
I think you have a new starting cornerback for the Green Bay Packers. So far, Kevin King in this game has been thrown at 4 times, 0 completions. And he has just been tremendous. This is exactly what the Packers are going to have to get better in that secondary, get younger. I think eventually you're going to see Josh Jones in there in the mix, but this has been a tremendous debut on the part of Kevin King.
2nd round draft choice, played his college football at Washington. Big guy, 6'3" and 200. Play clock at 2. 3rd and 4, and they get to Ryan at the 36-yard line. So down he goes. It'll be 4th down and long with under 5 now to play in the period. Blake Martinez comes in for the sack.
And I think it surprised Tevin Coleman a little bit. Comes in right there, but his guard steps down, and you could see he just hesitated as if he was going to go outside and help on Perry. Wonder what the Super Bowl might have been like with this field goal right here after a sack.
53-yarder by Bryant, and the 42-year-old ageless wonder bangs another one through at 4:19 to play in the 3rd quarter. Atlanta up by 24. Schools around the state honoring the schools, and they have a display showing you a lot of the guys who grew up in the Peach State. Mike Vick was being interviewed here in the stadium at halftime. He came back. He was working in LA today. Saw him on Fox in the pregame. Let's go back, by the way, to the Super Bowl. Not that you want to, but you have 5 downs to forget, 4th quarter. They're up by 8. 1st and 10 of the 22. This came after the Julio Jones catch. He had a sack. They were in field goal range, of course, until he had a holding penalty. Then you're back at the 45. You got an incomplete pass, and then you had a punt. So they had a chance after the Jones catch at worst to make it perhaps an 11-point lead, maybe even more. Moved into the end zone, obviously, but that's what happened.
Yeah, and really everybody, I think, in the stadium after that Julio Jones catch was thinking the same thing. Game over if they could make this field goal, and it just didn't happen, did it?
They went for the kill shot, and they got killed.
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting point. I've been on the sideline so many times when you start fast in a game, and then all of a sudden you begin to transition and you start to say, okay, we got a big lead, let's protect it a little bit, and then after one play the guy comes over to the sideline, your offensive coordinator, and says, guys, listen, we're going back to what got us here. We're going fast pace. We're going to not stop till we get it in the end zone. and then when they had it, didn't quite change gears, did they?
Second down and 3, and that's Cobb, and he'll be stopped short of the first down. Of course, it was Kyle Shanahan. It could have been like the all-time 48 hours for Kyle, because he knew he was going to go to San Francisco. He announced as the head coach, and then he'd go as the Super Bowl champion, and instead you kind of got, hey, what happened?
Yeah, that was as tough as it got. Obviously, for this city that would love to have their second championship.
Right.
That was, I don't think they're quite over it yet, but the night certainly going to help.
Second championship in 4 sports, as that is caught by Adams, and that'll be a first down. Falcons have never won the Super Bowl. The only championship they won in the 4 major team sports would be the Braves. The Braves won the World Series back in 1995, beat the Cleveland Indians in 6 games.
45, 45. Ready, go.
To the outside, and finally Bennett makes the catch, takes it up to the 45. So he's been around. Bears, Giants, started with the Cowboys last year, got a Super Bowl ring in New England. Ted Thompson brought him in as a free agent this year. Been thrown to a lot tonight, but they finally have a completion to him. Brother of Michael, who was in Seattle, where the Seahawks finally pulled one out against the 49ers today. Now you got all kinds of action up front and a flag. Offense moving, defense moving, everybody moving.
Yeah, it's illegal motion on the quarterback. Got Aaron Rodgers
illegal
moving
motion,
forward.
number 12, offense moving forward at the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Yeah, even Corey Linsley, as soon as he snapped it, turned around and looked like, oops, because Aaron Rodgers was changing the play and he thought he was getting the snap count. Rodgers lucky to catch that one.
Second and 11.
Hey, Al. Ready, go. Al. Ready, go.
Underneath Tennant. So back to him. And he gets wrestled down at the 46-yard line by Brian Poole. 3rd and 5.
Here's a 2-for-1 chip. Watch this one by Martellus Bennett. Over here. Boom into boom. 2 guys on the ground. Got them both. And then they got him.
Yeah, they did at the end. Take that. 3rd down 5 from the 46.
Ready, go. On. Ready, go.
Blitz. Gets it away and behind Bennett. Covered there by the safety, Keanu Neal. It'll be 4th and 5.
You can really see the difference in the confidence in the Falcons in calling man coverage now. They're going to bring all this pressure because they now feel pretty darn good about matching up on the outside. Of course, Desmond Trufant hurt at the end of the year, not available during the course of the playoffs. But you can see the confidence in this team growing as far as matching up with any set of wide receivers playing for anybody in the NFL.
Definitely. Down by 24, they'll go for it on 4th and 5 from the 46.
Ready, go. Hey, Al. Ready, go.
And that is caught, and that will prolong the drive by Davante Adams. Gets it to the 47-yard line, and Green Bay retains possession.
Well, those are the kind of tough catches that you just have to have somebody that can make that on 3rd down. Big bodied guy. I thought Davante Adams really came on last season. 12 touchdown catches, career high for him.
Ready, go.
75 receptions. Second on the team to Jordy Nelson. If you joined us late, Nelson hurt in the first quarter, hasn't reappeared. They started the game to Green Bay with both offensive tackles in street clothes. And Rodgers going to pack it in and is going to be a little bit short of the first down, gain of 9.
Well, no quit in Aaron Rodgers. He knows he's going to have to help these tackles some, and we've seen it so many times before with him. If you rush 4 It just means there's going to be some natural gaps in there. That time they rushed 3, and there were some big gaps in there, and Aaron Rodgers can still run it. Remember the one year he had the pulled hamstring, and he really was very limited in his ability to run, and just had to try and make do, but you could see a big part of his game was gone.
2nd and 1. Can he get the playoff? No, he can't before the end of the quarter. So we have time on the play clock, but the game clock expires. 34-10 Atlanta. Sunday Night Football back after these messages. Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And so far, good night for the home crowd because their club leads 34-10 with 15 minutes to go in regulation.
It does look like this defense is taking a jump, don't you think? I know a lot of injuries on Green Bay, but a much improved defense than what we saw at the beginning of the year last year.
Agreed. And at the end, too. 2nd and short. Goes Ty Montgomery. But before he gets pushed back, the play is over. There's no fumble. Be a first down.
Well, Dontari Poe is one of the new guys on this team, and it's interesting how he got here. He's in all likelihood only staying a year, but basically Dan Quinn sold him on the idea that, hey, you've been known as sort of a run player. I think you can go get the quarterback. So we're going to play you a little less than what you've been. He took so many snaps a season ago, but I want you quicker. I want you getting up the field. I want you to prove to everybody you can rush the passer. Your value is going to go up. And guess what? Dontari Poe bought into it, and here he is.
Flag for a false start on Kyle Murphy.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Dontari Poe can go to his grave, or at least tell his grandchildren before he does that. He once threw more touchdown passes in a game than did Ben Roethlisberger. Playoffs last year, Pittsburgh and Kansas City. That's right. It was. Sorry about that. We were there so many times last year. I forgot which game we were there for. Christmas night against Denver. That's what it was.
Yep, that was the last.
So he threw more than Trevor Siemian, I guess. Who knows?
And it was a pretty pass too. He had a little, almost a basketball-like release at the end of it. The place went crazy.
Like a shot put. 1st and 15, and Rodgers rolling away, extending the play, fires, incomplete. Adams can't hold it. Trufant covering on the play, 2nd down and 15.
Yeah, Dontari Poe almost got there, and you see what we're talking about. They want him to play on the edge. He got up the field, flushed Rodgers out of the pocket, and that's the kind of thing, even though he didn't get the sack, it shows up when the scouts take a look. You know, he was one of only 3 defensive tackles or nose tackles that played 800 or more snaps last year. That is a ton. If you're playing every snap, you're somewhere around 1,000. And most of those nose tackles are down around 400, 500 snaps, but maybe now he'll be even fresher and make more plays.
Rodgers fakes to the right, comes to the left. It's caught by Richard Rodgers. Caught a pass early in the game, but nothing since. Tackled there by Deion Jones. And it will be 3rd and 7.
Yeah, and no question, Vic Beasley now being out of this lineup has definitely hurt the Atlanta Falcons. We're not seeing quite the pass rush, and I think Aaron Rodgers quickening up what he's doing, and you don't know, but there is a little momentum. They just need one of those kinds of plays here to swing this thing back in their favor.
3rd and 7.
Ready, go.
And Rodgers throws, and it's deflected and nearly picked. Intended for Richard Rodgers. Campbell was there. 4th down. And you got Ricardo Allen, the safety, who's down on the turf.
Which actually played to Atlanta's favor there, because I think Aaron Rodgers was getting them lined up to at least go hard count and maybe even go for it on 4th down.
Back after this. And not a minute sooner.
Get a chance to see what Marquand Manuel, the new defensive coordinator, what his style is here on 4th down.
4th and 7. trying to stay alive, and Rodgers throws deep downfield, and it is caught by Devontae Adams for the touchdown. Threaded it, threw it over the corner Alford for a 33-yard touchdown on a 4th down and 7.
Putting on the field is a touchdown.
Watch the hesitation at about the 3/4 mark of this route. Adams just going to hesitate, and it fooled Robert Alford, and then he sped up, made the play.
Hits the pylon.
The forearm down. As long as that ball didn't hit the ground, that is good.
Right. Brushes the pylon, gets down both feet inbounds. All scoring plays. Ooh, yep, it almost went down. Just there, just into the end zone, but it's going to be confirmed very shortly, and it's going to be 34-16 pending the extra point. Or they'll go for 2 to make it 34-18, and that would make it a 2-possession game. You'd need 2 touchdowns and obviously 2 two-point conversions, and you need 3 in the game to make that happen, including this one.
Yeah, and the only question is about the pylon and whether or not that does anything. But remember, if you hit the pylon going in, it counts as a touchdown. So even though the pylon is out of bounds, it's actually inbounds for purposes of whether it's a touchdown or not. Does that make any sense?
Touching the pylon does not make the guy out of bounds. They go for 2 here to try to make it a 16-point game. Bring Bennett inside. Rodgers rolling, firing, and that is incomplete. So they don't get it. Intended for Adams. It stays an 18-point game with 12:42 left in the 4th. Brand new Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. Played at the old Georgia Dome right next door. They'll implode that in November. Meanwhile, before the kick,
ball cannot be kicked before it's made ready for play by the referee's whistle.
All right. Meanwhile, as we go back to the touchdown, take a look at Rodgers.
You've heard of a pump fake with your arm. How about a double pump fake with your eyes? Looking at the safety, look back, and then come back one more time. And it got Keanu Neal, who was leaning that way to help the man-to-man coverage of Robert Alford. And yet it was the veteran making the play there.
So Green Bay's had the ball for most of the half, but they're still down by 18, so a 3-possession game. Kick again, and of course Atlanta expects an onside kick. They didn't get it a moment ago. What will Crosby do this time? The only guy back deep for the Falcons is Andre Rodgers.
You could bounce this thing around.
10-yard line. Andre Roberts back there. He will take it, but he has no blocking up in front. All of the guys were at midfield. So Ryan wins the MVP award last year. Tremendous regular season. Brady could have won it. Rodgers could have won it, but I think Ryan was a worthy MVP recipient. But no MVPs won a Super Bowl in the last 17 years. You'd have to go back to the turn of the century when Kurt Warner had that unbelievable year out of nowhere when Trent Green got hurt in '99 with the Rams, and then led them to a Super Bowl win and won the Super Bowl MVP award that year with a win over Tennessee.
I just think that's a wasted opportunity on that kickoff. I just don't believe in that situation with one guy back and give him a freebie on the 25.
Meanwhile, Freeman sprints away after contact was made. Jake Ryan finally makes the tackle. That's a gain of 9. They can chew up some clock. 2nd and 1.
No, because if you kick the ball down around the 10-yard line, there's no blocking at all in front of him, or bounce it down there. Give your guys a chance to run down there and make some kind of play. I mean, you're down a good bit. You kind of need to take a shot.
Agreed. So Ryan taking his time. 2nd down and 1. Stay on the ground. Freeman stutter step, hesitation, and takes the ball up to the 43-yard line. That's a 1st down tackle by Josh Jones.
Here we go. One of the keys to the resurgence of the Atlanta Falcons in their Super Bowl run right there. Alex Mack, it was so interesting talking to Thomas Dimitroff and how he has philosophically changed on those interior three guys. They tried a lot of different people at that center position, but boy, when they brought in Alex Mack, the Pro Bowler, everything started to click up front for the Falcons.
It's been so many years at Cleveland. Coming out of the University of California. And once again, through the middle, gain of about 3 to the 46-yard line. Ryan again makes the tackle on Freeman, who's carried the ball 13 times tonight for 73 yards.
Yeah, and Devontae Freeman, really, there's Thomas Dimitroff right there next to Arthur Blank. Congratulations on your new stadium and what looks like a successful opening night here. Those guys have had a plan from the very beginning, and obviously Matt Ryan, the MVP, being a big part of it, but now changing not only the defensive coordinator, but the offensive coordinator as well, and getting back on track. Some questions after that opening day game a week ago, but that was on the soft turf of Chicago, not this team style.
Freeman again, heavy workload here as they use the clock. Gain of a couple, making it 3rd down and 6.
It was interesting talking to Dom Capers, the defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. He knew what he was in for. They have plenty of experience over there in Chicago, and a team built around the speed and quickness the way the Atlanta Falcons are, going to that softer field in Chicago. He told his guys all week long, listen guys, what you saw on tape up there, they're going to be about twice as fast on this turf, and it has played out that way.
And so Steve Sarkisian, nice night for him. The offense with 319 yards and 34 points. A few of those from the defense, but still Ryan goes deep, intended for Jones. Had a big first half. Pretty quiet here in the second half. Devon House covering on the play. It'll be 4th down.
Yeah, and no choice in the matter now, right? You have to try and come get Matt Ryan, and that means man coverage on the outside. And for Matt Ryan, that means an automatic shot down the field. They just missed that one. A little pressure. That hurts. Well, you just give that guy any kind of a chance, and he's coming down with that one.
3rd punt of the night for Bosher. Trevor Davis back. Oh, Ryan almost got in there, and a flag is thrown because he did make contact, almost blocked it, and then does make contact with the punter. It was a 4th down and 6.
It was the kicking leg that got hit, so in theory that is running into the kicker, which would still leave them a little short.
Well, Bosher doing his best Academy Award work as he kind of staggers off the field.
It was a little reality TV too.
Running into the kicker, number 47 of the receiving team. That penalty is declined. 1st down, Green Bay.
Would have been a 4th and 1. They take the ball with 9.5 to go. Sunday Night Football, 1 week from tonight to the nation's capital we go. Matchup you don't see that often. The Oakland Raiders against the Washington Redskins. 7 o'clock Eastern time for football night in America. Both teams won today. Oakland handled the Jets with ease, 45-20. And the Redskins went out west and beat the Rams 27-20 behind Kirk Cousins and company. So they're 1-1. Oakland's 2-0. Raiders Skins next week on Sunday night. Montgomery, it's away. Good gainer. Time Montgomery with plenty of time left. 9:27. Granted, it's an 18-point game. You got Aaron Rodgers on the other side.
Now, what we've seen in the Super Bowl out of this defense was they got exhausted. You know how they covered 93 plays. And I was sitting in the stands that day, and I can remember watching those Falcons pass rushers coming over and just heaving on the sideline, trying to catch their breath and bent over at the waist. And now Aaron Rodgers keeping them on the field. Now, yes, they have more depth than they had then, but you're starting to see a little bit of that.
On a draw, and Montgomery, it's bounced down up at the 44-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 4.
But there aren't many teams that can play as perfectly as the Patriots played the rest of the way from that 28-3 mark. You know, that every single thing had to go right for them to have a chance, and probably a turnover like they got as well with the sack fumble from Hightower. Tough to keep a perfect streak alive.
2nd and 3.
What?
Jamal Williams is the back in this set.
Ready, go.
He takes the swing pass, and he should pick up the first down as he gets ridden out of bounds by Duke Riley. We go to Michelle.
Well, as the Falcons continue to look for their pass rush, Vic Beasley, one of their strongest in those terms, is still questionable with a hamstring. He went back to the locker room. He was being worked on. We haven't seen him since, but they miss him now, Al.
They do, and next week these guys go into Detroit, and they hope with the 2-0 record, Green Bay goes home, and they get the Bengals. Bennett. Tries to get to that first down marker. I believe he does. Trevor Davis throws a block to get him there. First down.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers got it out of his hand so fast that time. Didn't have to worry about the pass interference call. That was a planned play. Just get it to him, and the wide receivers go immediately to block. They're not running routes.
Ready, go.
From the 37-yard line, Rodgers throws, and Bennett covered by 2 guys, but is able to thrust forward. Get to the 31, turns it into a gain of 6, 2nd and 4. We're at the halfway mark of the 4th quarter.
And there's nothing better that you can do for 2 young offensive tackles who weren't supposed to be playing in this game than wear out a defensive line and keep them on the field with his no huddle.
Joined us late. Jordy Nelson has not played since the 1st quarter. Rodgers fires, caught on the outside. Geronimo Allison takes it to the 17-yard line. I would say a slight bit of nervousness would be setting in right now in this building.
Yeah, how can it not? And of course, if they hadn't taken the touchdown off the board, and now we have
Poole. That's no, that's who is that? That is Brian Poole. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you're going to get into the discussion: is he hurt, or is he trying to break this momentum up and get some substitutes on the field for the Falcons? I would maybe argue the latter. Maybe. I hope he's not hurt.
But if you had to vote,
you know, I'm not a judgmental person.
Mm-hmm. You wouldn't go to the polls, right?
I wouldn't. No.
Okay. Oh no, you're not. You're not judgmental. All right, to Michelle, she's judgmental. Go ahead,
no, I'm not. But I can tell you these facts. That Jordy Nelson, you mentioned him being questionable with a quad injury. Well, also now questionable is Randall Cobb with a shoulder injury. So this team continues to take hits, Al.
Yeah, this is an old MASH unit game tonight. And they're the big name guys too. I mean, you got the bold-faced guys, Nelson and Cobb, and Daniels on the other side. He went out early. Yeah, 2 tackles gone, of course, before the game began.
If this were a NASCAR race, the Falcons needed to change all 4 tires, and that break in the action gave them a chance to do just that.
Well, if Poole comes in for the next play, I know where we're going with this.
It wouldn't be the first time we've seen it.
Hold on.
So it's first down. The ball is at the 18-yard line. 6.5 to go.
Ready, go, go.
Rodgers throws, and that's caught, and that's Adams. And Devontae Adams cannot get to the goal line. He's inside the 1, 1st and goal. Tackled by Ricardo Allen. Clock ticking down to 6 minutes. Rodgers cool and collected. Brings him back into the huddle.
Ready,
Montgomery is the back. A little flip to him, a little shovel pass, and that's a touchdown for Green Bay. And for Aaron Rodgers, that would be the 300th touchdown pass of his stellar career, and he is by far the fastest ever to get to 300 touchdown passes.
Think about it, all the unbelievable touchdown passes we've seen Aaron Rodgers throw, and that one's going to be 300.
Right.
That makes all the highlight reels right there. But the momentum has definitely shifted here.
It's the old Utah pass, the old Lee Gross Cup shovel for the touchdown. Mason Crosby for the point after, and all of a sudden it's an 11-point game with 5:51 to go. Aaron Rodgers, boy, he's going to own a lot of marks by the time he is done. Already has some. Check this out. It took Dan Marino 157 games, as it did Peyton Manning, to get to 300, and Rodgers does it 13 games or almost a full season sooner. 144 games, so it's more than 2 per. Well, now you got the same situation we had where they kicked deep the last time. Julio Jones back there. What's Crosby going to do here? We'll send it down there again, and Jones is going to run this one back. Excuse me, that's Roberts from the 5-yard line. He goes out of bounds. He goes out of bounds at the 21. All right, so.
And take a look at now where they're going to have to start this drive compared to where they did last time at the 25. So, all right, running back time now for the Atlanta Falcons. They've had a good night, no question about it. And they have 2 good ones. And actually, Derek Coleman, the fullback's had a nice night tonight, too. To see the sort of elite quickness there of Devontae Freeman and some of the speed of Tevin Coleman coming out of the backfield, both excellent receiving running backs. And so now it comes down to, can they create a little space, because you want to throw it but be relatively safe in how you do that, and throws to the backs usually a pretty good option here.
11-point game, so this one is certainly not over, except for some of our friends it is over, but you get my drift. 5:46 left, 34-23. They start this drive with Freeman on the ground. Gain of 3 up to the 24-yard line. Julio Jones had a red-hot start
Green Bay
early in the game. Meanwhile, Green Bay is going to use a timeout right here, so they want to stop them if they can. 3 and out obviously is what they want to do. Take their timeout at this particular point and hope to get the ball back, and they need obviously a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal somewhere along the line.
Yeah, Dean Lowry coming slowly off the field, and their defensive end, so they're getting thin now on that defensive line with Mike Daniels already out.
And there is Lowry being worked on the sideline.
And they have Quentin Dial in there, who basically has been there for a week or so.
Yeah, he was a healthy scratch last week against Seattle, former 49er.
Interesting, they're staying with that nitro formation here with Morgan Burnett at the linebacker position. I guess assuming they're going to start throwing it here.
There's Matthews saying that was a false start.
False start.
And it was.
Number 81 offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Austin Hooper.
Right here, Hooper gonna give it a little. Yeah. Matt Ryan got his own guy, or seen Aaron Rodgers get a couple of his own guys tonight. But now it starts to get a little interesting, doesn't it?
I'll say.
If you throw it and you're incomplete, you're stopping the clock and saving timeouts.
2nd down and 13. And over the middle, and that's caught. And is it a 1st down or not, as Taylor Gabriel is stopped a little short, just across the 30-yard line. 3rd and a short one.
All right, watch the lurk coverage come down in here, but Julio's going to come down that way and draw all the attention, so Matt Ryan just throws it to the backside. But there's no way for that safety coming down. You have 2 different slants coming inside. You have to go cover Julio, and that's what creates opportunities for these other receivers. And that was a big play.
Here's another big play, and it's a wildcat here. Sanu, Mohamed Sanu.
He can throw it.
Will
Be
take
careful.
the snap. And they run the option instead and pick up a first down with Freeman on the ground up to the 39. I would have been shocked if he would have thrown it there on 3rd and inches. So Freeman takes it for the first down. Now they can chew up some more of the clock.
Just nicely done over here on this side of the line as they just go pure power down. And remember those defensive linemen out for the Green Bay Packers, and that was just a huge first down after that penalty.
After the penalty and the pass completion, and that precluded Green Bay taking a timeout. Had it been 3rd and long, they probably would have taken one. They couldn't on 3rd and a half, and now you got action, and again flags come in.
Ball start, number 67, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Andy Levitri's been around for 9 years in the National Football League, former Bill and Titan.
Yeah, he has been a huge addition. Talking about some good trades now. They got him for a 6th-round pick and a little bit of other compensation, whatever that always means. But coming in here, he was the 13th ranked guard in the league.
First down and 15 at the 33. And Ryan's going to throw and hits Jones on a slant. That's a gain of 9 up to the 47-yard line. Demarius Randall. So Green Bay pressing the line that time. Came up to the line of scrimmage. Arthur and Mrs. Blank on the sideline. Salutes.
The great equalizer, isn't he? I mean, Julio Jones, you want to begin to go play the run, right? You have no choice. You're behind. You have to make a play. So it means you have to play man coverage on the outside. And the minute you do that, the MVP raises up, finds number 11, and you're backpedaling again.
So it's 2nd down and 2 at the 46-yard line. Jones's first catch of the second half. Ryan makes it strong side right. Sanu comes in on the wing. Freeman tries to get to the outside and he gets bounced down. So now the 45-yard line, the Green Bay Packers are going to take a timeout. 3rd down and 3. Big play coming up. Obviously, we go to Michelle.
Well, Green Bay has had to deal with a boatload of injuries tonight. We know that now they came in without their 2 starting offensive tackles. Jordy Nelson now downgraded to out. Daniels injured in the first half, out with that hamstring. Kentrell Bryce, who is a big special teams contributor, out with a groin injury. Randall Cobb still questionable with the shoulder, and now add Devon House to the mix. A quad, and he is questionable, Al.
Yeah, that's a full house. Boy, I'm telling you, a lot of guys will be in therapy this week as they get ready for a game against Cincinnati, and aren't the Bengals thrilled about that? At Lambeau next week, and then a Thursday night game against Chicago at home. 3rd down and 3.
Man coverage is there again if they want him.
Matthews blitzes, and it's caught the 45-yard line by Mohamed Sanu. I don't want to say that's the kill shot, but pretty close, because you've had Green Bay using their timeouts, and now Matt Ryan can just milk it for all it's worth.
Sanu's really proven himself to be a first-class 3rd down receiver. Watch his patience here. Go up, fake out, come in. Just enough space there to complete it. Big, strong hands. He has been a great complementary receiver to Julio Jones on the outside.
So the ball at the 45-yard line, and Ryan can take the clock all the way down. He's going to take it down to the point where he takes a timeout with 3:13 remaining in the 4th quarter. Atlanta up by 11. Of course, next Sunday night you got Derek Carr, you got Kirk Cousins, you got the Raiders, who are 2-0 against the Redskins, who lost last week to Philly but then rebounded today with a win out in Los Angeles over the Rams on Sunday night. A fun game. You know, I love when you have matchups, Chris, once in a while where, you know, you don't see the teams play that often. I mean, Oakland and Washington, you don't think of them as meeting. You know, you can't think of too many confrontations through the years.
but two nationally known teams.
Right.
You know?
Remember one of the Super Bowl many moons ago is this Marcus Allen. And Freeman takes the ball to the 43-yard line.
I don't think there'll be many questions about Steve Sarkisian at the end of this game, do you?
Well, not for a week anyway. You know the National Football League. You're the greatest or you're the biggest bum.
Sarkisian, a guy that basically he went to USC originally to play baseball, decided he missed football too much, went to a junior college, had some success, went to BYU, had huge success, but was undrafted, went to the Canadian Football League to prove everybody wrong that he was that kind of quarterback, didn't work out, got into coaching, he's been a head coach twice. I mean, this guy's been around for a relatively young guy.
2nd and 8, keep it on the ground again. And if I'm not mistaken, when the Raiders were making a change in the middle of the aught decade, I think Sarkisian was actually the first choice of Al Davis, and he passed. He pulled himself out, and it wound up going to Lane Kiffin, and that didn't work out. Then Kiffin went to Tennessee, then he went to SC, and Sarkisian wound up at Washington, and then he went to SC, and that didn't work out.
No, it didn't.
So, but all is good on the Eastern Front, at least for tonight. 2-minute warning. Falcons on their way to a win, 34-23. Stadium. That was a short shelf life for that Georgia Dome, 25 years. But they had 37 million people go there through the years. Hosted 2 Super Bowls, 3 Final Fours, and the Olympics.
Well, they're double teaming Julio here. No freebies this time.
3rd and 9, and they keep it on the ground. Don't pick up the first down or come close to it, but that will take another 40 seconds off the clock. So the 3 games against Green Bay over the last 12 months, 111 points, over 400 yards per game, over 340 yards passing per game, 74 first downs and 13 touchdowns against a team, and tonight on the board against a team that last week did not allow a touchdown to the Seattle Seahawks at Lambeau.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting sequence here, assuming the Packers handle the ball on this punt. But we're back to the old thing, Al, where you may want to go get your 3 points, then try your onside kick. And we have seen Aaron Rodgers with so many Hail Marys, I can't even name them all anymore. That one against Arizona, or 2 against Arizona in the playoffs, I'll never forget it. What do you have, 104 yards passing because of a penalty on 1 drive and 2 Hail Marys? One of the most unbelievable endings to a game I've ever seen.
That was Jeff Janis, too, who, you would think might see some action tonight with all the injuries, but really hasn't, except for special teams. Botcher able to get it away. A little bit of contact is made with him, but not enough for a flag. And that's perfect, because that takes a little bit of time off the clock. To the 12-yard line, they down it there. So Atlanta, if they win this one and hold on, they'll be 2-0. Go to Detroit. Detroit 1-0, and they have the Monday nighter tomorrow against the Giants. Then Buffalo comes down here, and then they have the bye week, early bye, and then Miami comes down here.
How about this one?
Yeah, how about that one? And by the way, that's I believe that's a Sunday night game.
Yes,
let me check our schedule here.
Yes, indeed.
Let me check it, son. Yep, that's our game.
That will be pretty exciting.
And what do you think the storyline might be going into that game?
I don't think the Falcons are going to have much fun that week.
Hey, rip it, 11.
So the ball at the 12-yard line. Patriots rebounding nicely today after the loss to Kansas City by beating the Saints. Rodgers throws, and the pass is incomplete. Intended there for Geronimo Allison, 2nd down.
Yeah, and it's good to see Brian Poole back in the game healthy again, so that's good that worked out. Got over that cramp or whatever that was, so happy to see that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we thought it might be surgery at first, but I guess it was just a cramp.
Yep, bad cramp.
He was able to give that defense a little time to rest up. Right now, Rodgers needs a mini miracle on 2nd down and 10 from the 12-yard line. Rolling to his left, trying to get it deep downfield, and then he gets smothered at the 2-yard line by Adrian Claiborne.
That was a different kind of Hail Mary. That wasn't the Hail Mary the throw. That's what he said.
Past the line of scrimmage.
When he saw Claiborne coming at him. Oh my goodness, let me get rid of this. Outside the pocket, got it back to the line of scrimmage. Ugh.
Yeah, that was a prayer, except it was coming from his lips.
Yeah.
Third and 10 now. Rodgers has thrown the ball 45 times tonight, completed 30. And I'm not sure what that was, but there's a flag on the play.
Montgomery was trying to get out on the screen.
Walt says, now what was that again? You sure? And now you've got a full-blown conference. You got 4 officials here.
Illegal shift, number 11 of the offense, was never set. That penalty is declined.
And Walt's got to figure out what the down and distance is here.
I think it's 4th down now,
It is.
right?
Yep. Be 4th and 10.
The illegal shift penalty is declined. 4th down.
All right, 4th and 10. You'd say it comes down to this, but it would come down a lot more to this.
Well,
even if they convert.
In ordinary times with his starting tackles, this is where you see Aaron Rodgers move around, buy time, let somebody work down the field and try and work a little magic like he did against the Cowboys last year. We'll see how they handle it. They are spread out, one back in the backfield.
And Rodgers is trying to keep the drive at least alive. Winds up getting the first down. That's Bennett up to the 30-yard line. Clock keeps rolling. And Rodgers getting him up to the line of scrimmage as fast as he can. Again, you can go field goal first if you get there. Taking a ton of time off the clock right now. 26, 25, counting down. Aaron looking downfield. And that's caught for Trevor Davis, but with only 17 seconds left on the clock. He gets out of bounds.
Yeah, and you almost have to do the math now. You almost have to have this play be the one that gets you in field goal range, kick the field goal, have time for the onside kick and another play.
Correct.
So at this point, you have to start looking at about the 35-yard line to make this one happen. Sometimes you can get those deep crossing routes in this situation because there's only going to be, well, 4-man rush looks like.
Oh, no timeout. So I'm making the odds of all this happening at 2,640 to 1. 2nd and 1. And Rodgers throws, and that's incomplete. Now you got 10 seconds.
Now it's tough.
You think? Oh, man. Well, the Packers come in here. Falcons were favored by what the home field is normally worth, about 3.5.
Well, you think of all the things, though. That play before the half and that call on the pick play.
The pick play, and then what about the fumble return, too?
Yeah, and they had a touchdown call back on another pick play. So pick play is the story of the night for the Green Bay Packers.
Caught by Allison. Taken down inbounds, and that's going to take us to the finish line. Atlanta wins the game 34-23. Coming up next, the Volkswagen postgame report after these messages.